Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of my Sub-3 marathon training series. The topic of today's episode is pretty obvious considering you've already seen the title and the thumbnail. Yes, I did pick up an injury, but it's not as bad as it seems. All right, and so with this video, I want to go over what the injury is, what it means for the run streak. Am I still planning on even attempting the Sub-3 in the marathon in 6 weeks? What have I been doing to help recover from the injury? What have I been doing to train aerobically with this injury as I'm recovering for the injury? And then what does my overall fitness as well as what does the marathon training plan look like for the last 6 weeks leading up to the Marine Corps Marathon? So let's get to it. All right, so we'll start with the easy one. What is the injury that I picked up? The injury is a slight pull or strain in my right leg. It's basically in the groin area, running down in the hamstring towards the knee. I have been able to run with this for the past few weeks. So I've had the injury for roughly 2.5 weeks now. I did continue running because it wasn't something that really affected my running. But the main reason that I wanted to kind of slow things down and look at properly recovering from this is that even though I can run with this injury and I'm not having any issues, I don't want to do anything that could potentially make the injury worse. And when I'm already starting to feel a slight pain in my leg, all it takes is one bad step or one overstride in a speed workout or something of that nature to just have everything completely fall apart, and basically the marathon's not even a goal at all because I'm too injured to even run that distance in the first place. And so that's why I'm looking at, like I said, kind of taking a step back, slowing things down to get this figured out so that I can hopefully bounce back quickly to be able to get back to my training. So secondly, what does that mean for the run streak? So for the run streak specifically, I've continued doing it, which I know there's already going to be some of you that are like, you should stop running completely to get the injury figured out. This is something that I've made a commitment to at the beginning of the year, specifically with the Marine Corps flag that you can see behind me. I'm doing this to honor my fallen brothers, and it's one of those, I'm gonna finish it. The only way I would not finish this run streak is I would have to lose both my legs, and then I'd probably still try and finish it some way or another. And so what I've done in the interim to figure this out is basically going to one really slow mile a day to keep the run streak going. And then what I've been doing to supplement that aerobic training for the marathon is doing the bike. So for the run streak, it's still going strong. Like I said, until this is figured out, I'll continue to just do one really slow mile a day. What does that mean for my training? Like I said, I'm doing the bike, and then I'm hoping that the last 5 weeks of training will be good enough to get me to where I'm at. What am I doing to actually help recover from the injury? So basically I'm doing stretch and mobility work 3 times a day. So right in the morning when I wake up, midday, and then in the evening. And then I've been doing ice baths. So I have an ice pod my wife got me for Father's Day. So that's in the garage. I do an ice bath after every single bike and that 1 mile run. And then I am doing strength work still to basically try and help strengthen that area that's injured, strengthen my legs in general, so that hopefully this doesn't happen again. I'm hoping that's more than enough. Even after 2 days of basically downtime, I think, or 3 days of downtime, I'm already feeling literally leagues better than I was a few days ago in terms of how my leg feels and that slight pain that exists. But like I said, let's hop into the laptop really quick, look at where my metrics are at in terms of my fitness and kind of how things have gone over the past few months, as well as then the last 6 weeks of my training plan. Basically this week's the off week, so 5 weeks of actual hopeful training. And we'll just go over what that's going to look like leading up to race day. All right, so first we'll look at my Koros training hub. We'll look at the dashboard. We'll look at my overall running fitness really quick. The endurance and the threshold are where we want to really look when it comes to running the marathon. As you can see, that threshold, that 546 to 616. One of the last workouts I did, basically the day before I decided to kind of shut everything down and go to that 1 mile a day, was 30 minutes at threshold. I ran a 5:55 minute mile average over those 30 minutes, running a little over 5 miles, but that falls right in line with that threshold. I think my heart rate, if I remember correctly, was a 173 or something like that. So even that was still below threshold. So I'm pretty sure this is right in line. My threshold sits right at that top end of the threshold that Koros is projecting. And then endurance as well, a good thing to note. On that 6:37 minute mile average for the 18 miles, my heart rate was 166 over that entire distance. So again, right on that top end for the endurance and the threshold when I'm doing those types of workouts, which is really great to see. Like I said, I think my fitness is right where I need it to be for the Sub-3, if not maybe a little better than a Sub-3. Last thing I do want to highlight really quick is the race predictor. So what is Koros predicting for my races at the moment? Half is a 1:18:42, which that's really positive because when I was training for the half in the spring, I couldn't really get it to break from like, I don't know, 123, 124. And now, as you can see, my half marathon is right in that 6 minute per mile range. So 1:18:42. And then right now it has me projected for the marathon at 2:44:44 or a 6:17 minute mile average, which is right where I'm actually training for. I've been training my paces as if I were running a 6 minute, 20-second minute mile average for the marathon. So when I came out of my half marathon training, the goal was to basically just not take the foot off the pedal and like slow down because I knew I was doing the Sub-3. I had been basically training at that 6:05 minute mile average for the 120, and a 6:05 equates to a 6:20 minute mile average for the marathon. So sorry, a 6:05 half marathon equates to a 6:20 for the full marathon. And so I kind of just stuck right with that because I felt really good in that half marathon training. And so as you can see here, the race predictor falls right in line with where I've kind of been training and where I believe my fitness is at based on some of the runs I've been doing leading up to this moment in time. All right, so next we'll hop into the Evo Lab for Koros. As you can see, the training status over the last 12 weeks, my base fitness and intensity trend, you see this huge spike leading up to the current. So right here, these were a few days that I kind of tried to take it a little lighter in between some of my speed work because, like I said, I already had the injury at this point. And so on some of those easier days, especially with these hot days that we've been having, I kind of let the intensity drop a little bit to see if that could help maybe get me to recover. The whole idea was to kind of approach this with, okay, maybe if I just take a few days easier and reduce the intensity, maybe that's all I need and I'll just be able to kind of stretch and mobility my way through it. And then, like I said, when that really wasn't fixing it 2 weeks later, I figured, okay, now I just got to really drop the intensity and maybe supplement with bike instead. So still some type of aerobic, but maybe I just need to kind of almost stop the running altogether and do just enough to keep the run streak alive. Last thing I want to look at, which is really good to see, is just the 4-week intensity distribution. So obviously, as you can see, this goes all the way back to April. But if you look at my distribution, they roughly sit in that like 80-20 rule. So 80% or roughly 80% easy, 20% hard. As you can see, the medium hard. I'm not really sure what medium actually constitutes. Let's see really quick what it is. So medium is threshold pace zone 2 and 3. All right, perfect. So mainly zone 2 kind of floating into that zone 3 for that medium. But as you look here, again, 60% easy, 18% medium, 23% hard. That's pretty much right where I want to be when it comes to training. July through August, we had 70% easy, 11% medium, 19% hard. Again, really seeing that hard isn't really going much above the 20%, which means that even though I might have 11% that's in that gray area, a majority of my running is on like polar ends of the spectrum of either that 70% easy and then that 19 to 20% hard. So like I said, I'm falling right in that 80-20 that you want to be in to make sure that you continue to see progression over the 16-week training block that I'm doing. All right, and so the last thing I want to jump into for the update of this episode with my injury is just looking at my training plan from here to race day. So 6 weeks of training basically left until race day. The week of the 16th of September, I plan to completely take off, like I said, do 1 mile a day, and then I'm going to supplement by doing biking. The hope is, fingers crossed, that by the 23rd of September here, that I will be back and able to do the runs. It's also luckily a down week or a deload week or recovery week, whatever you want to call it. McMillan has that every 4th week, you kind of reduce the volume and the intensity like a little bit on the 4th week, so that then that next set of 4 weeks you can go in ready to kind of take the next thing on and just like ever so slightly turn up the like heat a little bit in terms of like pace and effort that you're doing. So it does help that the week of the 23rd that I'd be coming back is a down week or a recovery week. So then we got, I believe, 4 weeks out from race day. Again, Like I said, a lot of easy runs with your goal pace run. So this one, 10 to 12 miles, I'll do the 12 miles at marathon pace as long as everything is good with 2-mile warm up, 2-mile cool down. I'm really excited about this workout specifically on the 3rd of October, mainly because now that I have this injury and I'm 6 weeks out from race day, these are kind of going to be the critical workouts that I need to kind of just help me stay locked in and keep that fitness where it needs to be. Not really those like fast, like this fartlek. I'll probably skip that 3 weeks out. The tempo intervals I'll probably do because they're 1 mile, but anything that's like really short and really quick, I'm going to avoid because I think that's what caused the injury in the first place. And at this point, it's not really necessary to just kind of continuing to turn up the heat when I don't really need to. Like I said, I think the fitness is there, but either way, I'll do this goal pace. And then we got this long run. Right now I have it, as you can see, scheduled at 22. It's 22 to 28. It'll depend on, again, how I'm feeling. Like a lot of this all is predicated on the fact that I'm just going to be able to bounce back after a week. So we'll see. And then 3 weeks out from race day, like I said, we got this fartlek. I'm going to skip that. I'll just do the hour and a half. Tempo intervals, I will probably do this workout. So those 1600s, I'll run at a 534 to 547. And then those 200s, as you can see, 455 to 511. I'll probably just skip those all together because again, I don't want to do anything that's just going to be that like tips in the wrong direction. And then we got a 16-mile fast finish long run. I may extend this. I will for sure do the 8 miles at goal marathon pace, but I might extend it to the full 18. Another fartlek, again, it's going to get skipped. I got a tempo run. This is another one I'm actually really excited about. I really actually enjoyed these runs. These are probably my favorite run to do. I did it a lot with Fitzinger's plan for the half marathon, and I really enjoyed it. And then I got this goal pace run. This is actually the Freep half marathon. I'm going to run the half marathon with this long run in mind. So 12 miles is what was scheduled. And then the last half of that half marathon, I'll run at goal pace or faster. And then race week is the last, obviously, week. We got a leg speed workout. I may do this one. This is one I'm not sure on because, that's still 6 weeks out. A lot can change between now and then. I may do this one. And then there's a cruise intervals 1,000, 4 to 5 by 1,000 meters. Again, I won't do this 3x200 with those strides at the end because again, if you look at the strides, 452 to 508, that's cooking. And like I said, I really don't want to do anything that's going to just kind of tip me in the wrong direction. So I'll probably do these 2 speed days. And then obviously it's quite a drop off there to taper then for the Marine Corps Marathon. And hopefully a sub-3. Like I said, one of the things I asked in the beginning with this injury was, do I still plan on running the sub-3? The simple answer is yes. As of now, the sub-3 is still the plan for race day. I'm going to hopefully show up on race day, hit the goal, and everything's going to be awesome. And then I can take a nice long run streak break where I just run a mile every day for a couple of weeks to recover and then start training for whatever's going on in 2025.